Good evening, Roxy Soxy.
Good evening, Tam. How you doing?
I'm sorry I rushed you tonight. I was like, we have to talk to these people, and you have to get your child from school to dancing, back, feed her, give her a bath, and be on time and look really hot.
All the things I do every day, anyway, right? No, it's so funny, Tam, and I've officially hit because my husband
rock bottom.
Yes, he's left me. I'm leaving him.
He's left me.
Yes, he's been out of town since last Wednesday. This is his first business trip.
Business, yeah, sure. He's like having luxury, like doing golf for 3 days.
I know. He's like in Miami, then New York. I'm like, really, fucker? But anyway, so I officially have hit the 3 stages of emotion once your spouse goes out of town the first time after the pandemic.
That's so true.
Here is what has happened.
Okay.
The first 2 days was like bliss. I was like,
oh, of course.
Yes, I'm like, I can watch whatever I want. I can like eat or not eat.
Bitching. I love it.
I don't have somebody on my shoulder telling me he's hungry and like all this stuff. And then like the weekend happened and I was like, I kind of miss that fucker.
Oh, and did you say I miss you, fucker? Because I'm sure that was very romantic.
In terms of endearment, we're all about it. So I was like, we were like at the aquarium and like doing all these things. But the problem is that I scheduled ourselves this weekend. So I didn't get a break. So I woke up today really tired. And now I'm in the 3rd stage of emotion.
Now you're angry.
Mad. Yes.
Anger. Yeah.
Like help out with all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to remain in this stage until Wednesday night.
See, I do those 3 stages within a 2-hour period. When my husband goes downstairs, it's like the first second I'm like, oh, he's not, because I'm your husband probably. Like I'm not a typical woman. Like I'm a little messy. I'm very creative. Not that women can't be creative, but like my husband does all the cleaning. He's so much better with the kids. Like I'm better with the kids when it comes to like, let's talk about the meaning of life and let's like paint with our feet. So like they're great in that like aspect. But like he's like he looked at me the other day. He's like, do you want to change her diaper? Because I think it's been on there for about 2 hours. And I was like, it's fine. There's no poop in there. It's fine. So I think we're a little different, but I have that, like, I'm like, he's not on me. He's not telling me to clean up. Not because but just because I'm like a mess. And then by the time he gets back, and then I do miss him and I'm texting him. And then by the time he gets back, I'm just such a bitch about it.
Angry. It's like,
I'm so angry.
Where were you? Why were you not helping out?
And this is such a good segue to the guests that we have on, because this is the first time we've actually had like a dad duo on the show. And when I watch, again, they're really big on TikTok and Instagram. They have a podcast too, The Dumb Dads. I want to ask why they're the dumb dads, because I think dads are fucking awesome. And we've had experts that have been men, but we talk a lot about mom stuff. And now I'm like, you know what? We need to cross over, Roxy, to the other side and learn from a male's perspective what they think about us and maybe what we can do better, maybe what they can do better, maybe how we can all communicate better and have like an easier way to parent. I don't know. I don't fucking know what's going to happen in the show, but I'm really excited to go there.
I am so excited for these guys, the dumb dads. Evan and Kevin are
Hi. Hello. How's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Great. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you. I'm still reeling from that 2 hours you're supposed to change the diaper. I just like
Wait, you would change the diaper, or you'd be like, oh, I had to change? Like, which one are you? Are you me or my husband?
I'm you.
Okay.
I'm you.
Okay. Are you both me?
No, I'm your husband.
Oh great, we're the couple.
I just feel like until it's really smelling, you're just wasting. I'm just trying to save the environment.
Mm-hmm.
I know, I'm being super green,
What do you think, they sell these in bulk?
Until you're not sure what's in there, you don't have to change it.
Where is I'm going to ask all 3 of you. Where's the worst diaper explosion you've ever had?
Like on your body? Like
the worst diaper, like the experience where something happened with a really poopy diaper. Where were you and what was the story? Because I know we all have a really bad diaper explosion story.
I know what mine is.
Okay.
I was it was like one of the first times I had like taken her out, like for a dinner, like my husband and I were out and we were at Chiconi's and I was fully dressed up, like head to toe, heels, like cute purse, like the whole bit. I was like feeling myself, you know, I'm like,
Yeah.
out,
With a newborn baby.
yes, with a newborn baby. I'm like the big, breastfeeding boobs. I'm like the whole thing.
Love it.
Love it. But then all of a sudden I felt this like warmth, like, because I was like holding her and we were waiting to get to the table, like with the host.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's this? And I looked down.
Oh,
Girl, it was
no.
all over Dad's.
No.
It was just, he was just like, what? Like, what am I I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like sweating, like freaking out.
Yeah.
I had to run to the back of the car.
I'm sweating hearing this.
I'm smelling. Like I'm like smelling something as you're talking. I'm like, I feel like I smell that.
It's like when somebody describes a good food and you're like, oh, I got this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Oh yeah. It's
I'm right
up
there
your
with you.
nostrils. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awful. And I'm just running to the back of the car, open the hatch, like the back of the car, trying to just clean her up like as best as I could just to like get it off first. Then I had to go into the bathroom. I was so embarrassed. Like there,
that's a tough diaper story.
And then, needless to say, we didn't keep the reservation. We just, I was like, I can't. How about you
We need to
guys?
switch to a to-go order.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what mine is because mine was, I define this as like one of those moments that I felt was like the introduction to parenting. Different than looking at your child for the first time, different than that. I have 2 kids. I have a 6-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. When my firstborn, my son was, I don't even know, like a couple months old. We went on a little road trip to Northern California to see some family, and he's in the back. And we were at that point, he was young enough to where we were still riding in the back with him. And, but it was really hot out. It was summertime. It was, we were really hungry. We thought, let's stop for a burger. And so we stopped for a burger and we're in the drive-through line, and we're in the line far enough to where there's cars in front of us and cars behind us. So we're not going anywhere. And he starts making really weird noises. And I was like, he looks like he's going to throw up. I don't know why he's going to throw up, but he looks like he's going to throw up.
What were the noises? Can I hear
what were
them?
Like, I don't know. Noises a baby doesn't make more. It was like, what's coming out of your body? Where's it coming from? And so I instinctively, I don't know if it's a good instinct or bad instinct, stick my hands underneath his mouth and he starts throwing up in my hands.
Bad instinct.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Hindsight, bad instinct.
I feel like I've done that with my husband before.
I'm like, I'll just catch it. So, he overfills my hands. And so now there's pointless. And so now there's throw up all over him, all over my hands.
Oh God.
And then I hear him audibly shit his pants.
God.
To a point where it was like that was as much came out the back end. It just came out in the front end. It was a blend. It was a blend. And so we're sitting in the drive-through line, can't go anywhere. He's strapped into his car seat. The worst part is we still have to wait for food, which is like the last.
And like, who wants to eat after? Yeah, who wants to eat after that?
Yeah. So we, eventually get there. We pull our bag and we go around in the parking lot and we like take him out, pour out the car seat. And throw away all of his clothes. I mean, it was like the worst pit stop ever. And that was when I really felt like as if I was standing outside of myself going, this is what it is.
Yeah, I'm a real dad. I'm a real dad. It doesn't get better than this.
People are seeing that too as they're driving to the drive-thru and go, we got to start eating better.
Yeah, they were like, oh, that reminds me. Last time I got food poisoning. I was in Paris. No, you tell me. You go first. You go next.
Okay. So it was, my daughter was only a couple weeks old, and it was the 2016 presidential primary. And my wife and I had gone back and forth and discussing who we were going to vote for because
Who are you going to vote for? Just kidding. Imagine I was like, let's get really political right now.
No, I don't mind.
Who the fuck were you going to vote for? Imagine I was getting like super angry.
Well, that was the thing. So we're in California. So
it's like, blue
state. And thank you for coming. And,
yeah, thank you for coming.
So we were discussing because we were like, we have the mindset. I know a lot of people vote differently, like in couples and stuff. But we were just kind of like, listen, if we're going to go, let's not just waste the vote. Let's make sure we're on the same page here. So we were back.
Or
and
I'm going to
forth
leave
on,
you.
or I'm going to leave you. So we were back and forth on like Hillary or Bernie, and it was we like landed on one, and we both were like, let's vote for, we're going to vote for Bernie, but no matter who wins, we'll vote for, we'll support the other person. We get there. My wife goes in first because it's a newborn, so you shouldn't bring them into like a voting booth.
That was plain, right?
And my
Learning
daughter
early.
blows out. I just hear just a butt explosion in the back while I'm waiting. So I'm going to clean her. It's my first like really bad car seat blowout. Then I'm shook. And I'm like cleaning all this up. And my wife comes back and she's like, what happened? And I'm like pale. And I was like, I just had an ordeal. And then I went and voted for the wrong person.
Covered in. Did you really?
Yeah. So we wasted the whole drive. Like we canceled each other's votes out. And
you voted for the wrong person because you were so shook by how much shit that you had on it yourself.
Yeah, correct? I wasn't sure if it wasn't still on me somewhere. I didn't know what was happening.
Perhaps it was foreshadowing too for what was to come.
Yep. It definitely was.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah. I mean, I've had so many shit stories. I don't even know where to start, but I have a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old, but my 7-year-old, when you first have a kid, I was determined to not lose my sense of self. So we used to travel everywhere. Now I have 2 kids. I'm like, I would never get on a plane for 16 hours. I took her to like the Seychelles. That's a 19-hour flight. I was like, I would never. And now I know how horrible, like that's just hell. It's hell for everyone. Everyone on the plane, me, her, it was horrible. So my daughter's been like to 19 countries. She's like traveled the world. My second has been to none because I learned the hard way. And yes, there's COVID, but like I'd still road trips all the way. But we were in France when she was 1.5 years old, and we were in a very fancy French restaurant, and we got her to like calm down, giving her the iPhone. Oh, I think there was iPhones. I was like, was there iPhone 7 years ago? Yes, it was. Giving her the iPhone. She was in the, this very fancy place in France, and she shat into her hair. Like it just went up. It just like, and that's what I don't understand about poop. Like my poop goes down. Like I don't understand how it goes up. Maybe it's because there's so much of it and there's like huge force behind it. I don't know, but it goes up and into her hair and she's covered in it. And they said to us, excuse me, you need to, je prends un poupou, je leave. So we were kicked out of the restaurant halfway through our meal. They made us pay for the meal, which is so crazy too. I was like, I just spent $100 like for a salad. They made us pay for the meal and they kicked us out of the restaurant because she had, look, understandably, who's going to finish their meal smelling that? But I just thought which would not take their kid to an escargot restaurant in France. They were like, stupid Americans. That was my experience, but I don't change as many diapers as my husband. So, he deals with a lot more poop than I do.
He deals with a lot more shit, huh?
No pun intended. He does a lot more. He does a lot more of the like menial, the disgusting jobs. Let's put it that way.
How about you guys? Do you guys do like most of the like lion's share of the diaper changing and cleaning and that kind of stuff?
Yes. Except before pandemic, my wife was working in an office and I was the stay-at-home dad. Now she's home and it's a little bit easier, but actually it's easier, but my son's 2 now. So he's like grown up. So it's been a handful. So I'm going to cry when she goes back to work, but I do most of those jobs. Yes. Stay-at-home dad.
We're both stay-at-home dads. So we've done the lion's share of hair shit cleanup, if you will.
I love that. You guys do the nail painting, the hair, like all of it.
So when you see on TikTok, which you guys are big on TikTok, when you see, there's like a whole side of TikTok that's like the mom TikToks, right? And it's all about like, kind of putting down the dads. And there's so many videos about like, oh God, I wish my husband or my baby daddy or whatever would like clean up more or treat me better or all these things. Do you think there's a massive misconception about like a dad's role in society today? Or do you think it's changing?
I think it's changing. I think there's truth to it because think of any family television show you can think of. Dad's an idiot and the mom is a wreck because she's doing everything by herself. And I feel like that's based on some truths of men mostly worked all the time and women stayed home and went insane. And now it's different, and more dads are staying home, and more dads are more involved, but like society hasn't caught up with that, I feel like. So there is still that stigma. There is still a stigma with a lot of men, and a lot of men still don't do things. They still don't know how to do things. But yeah, you get treated like an idiot all of the time. I remember when my daughter was little, I was pulling her in like the little red wagon radio flyer, and I was pulling her, and I heard a woman yell from across the street, "You got to talk to her, Dad. You should be talking to her. It's your daughter." And I was just like, and I didn't talk to my daughter for a year after that because
you're like, I'm going to show that woman. You will never learn how to talk.
But yeah,
she's like 4. She's like, can I please speak?
That's
no, I think there's such a misconception. Yeah. Let's go, Roxy.
No, I was just going to say, I just think it's so interesting because we talk a lot on this show about mom shaming, like about moms getting shamed by other moms and like getting judged and all that. It almost sounds like you got judged by another mom. So like as dads, do you feel that? Do you get judged by like other dads, other moms? Like, how do you guys feel about that?
I mean, I just told him a story the other day. We were talking about it on our podcast. I had to take my son to the orthodontist, his first ever orthodontist appointment. And they took a bunch of pictures of his mouth and kind of explained what the plan was going to be for the next year. We won't see him for a while, but when you come back, we're going to do this and that. And they gave me the rundown. And then immediately after she gave me the rundown, she said, and if you want to have your wife call us, we can explain that to her. And I'm just sitting there like, okay. You're just going to do it right in front of me. So there's just like kind of a lot of that. And I don't know, that's kind of also the reason why we called ourselves Dumb Dad Podcast or the Dumb Dads was the
lean into it.
We're just lean into it. It was like the joke that a dad, just cannot help himself, but barely survive a day where he had to spend 2 hours with his children. It's these stereotypical, like Kevin said, sitcom dad, or you look at dads in commercials too. It's all over the place. It's just what we're led to believe is acceptable as a dad or to be a dad. And so we're sort of doing it in spite of that, I guess.
And the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? Where it's like moms aren't perfect and dads aren't totally inept. It's somewhere in the middle and I think that's why people have enjoyed us on like TikTok in our podcast, because I feel like they've been like moms and dads are both like, yes, I do that too. I'm terrible at that. I don't know how to do that because you don't know what we're doing.
And I feel like the narrative though is still like, if a father stays at home and isn't working, right, then there's like this narrative that, there's something wrong with the dynamic of the guy. Like I've been working since I was 15 years old. We talk about this on our show a lot, and I like to make money. And it's the same when women say they like to make money. Women can't say that. Women are not allowed to like to work, and men aren't allowed to not decide to work and do something else. And I think that we need to talk more about that, because there are two people trying to make it work, trying to take care of their families, trying to earn an income. And that can look different in lots of different households. It's like whatever works for you. But I still think we're in this place in the world where we just love to judge what we don't understand because it makes us in some way feel better.
Yeah, it justifies like your view, even if like deep down you're like, I don't think this is totally right. But if I like judge you for your thing, it validates me a little bit more. When I first became a stay-at-home parent, it was right away. And it was actually that I was bartending nights, and I was bartending really late, like 9 to 4 a.m. And my wife was working an office job. And that's when we figured out like, oh, we would be able to do this and be fortunate enough to not have to spend money on like a nanny or daycare. And I'd meet those guys at the bar they would like finish the work and then they'd come to the bar, which is fine. And, but then they would be like, oh, my wife's calling me, wondering where I am. And it was just like, you're here, go home.
Exactly. Go see your kid.
Yeah.
And they'd just be like, you stay home with your kid like during the day? And I was like, yeah, is what's happening.
It's a hard job. It's a really hard job that I don't think people get anywhere close to the credit. Like I love my kids, but I would rather work and then come home to my kids, then be at home with my kids, and then go work for an hour. Like that's how I'm designed. And that's what makes me a better mom. That's why COVID has been hard for me, because I'm like, feel like I'm trapped without anywhere to go. And my work makes me feel a certain way about myself. And then I can be the mom that comes home and cooks and puts them down and loves them. And, but that's just the way I'm made up, and that's why everyone is so different. I think, Roxy, you're the same as me.
I am. I mean, I'm definitely a better mom when I have that time away for my, for myself and for my own identity, because that's an important part of who I am, in what I do and everything. So for me, I think it makes me a better mom to be able to like step away and then come back feeling recharged and refreshed, even though it's exhausting and tiring, doing that too. But it just makes me feel more whole, like to have all of that,
Do you both miss, what do you guys do? Are you in entertainment?
Yes, we are both actors.
But if you had a job and you were like filming a movie, you would more than likely want to be filming a movie and then come home to your kid.
Yes, for sure. And I love how you guys both describe that of it makes you a better mom is whatever makes you. It's not like your parenting is just, for some people it is. And if that is your identity, that is your identity. If it's like, I just want to be a mom, there's nothing wrong with that. But there's also nothing wrong with you being like, I had this passion before kids and this passion didn't go away when I had kids. So I just love how you phrase that it is what makes you a better person, is still doing what you love, finding time for it, finding time for yourself, because you do need to get away. And it is hard sometimes being a stay-at-home parent. I feel like COVID's been hard for a lot of people for obviously a myriad of reasons, but most of all, like on the weekends, what's the difference for a stay-at-home parent?
It's a Groundhog Day almost, right?
It's Groundhog Day. It's like starts over again. And
we've discovered recently that time has become irrelevant.
Yeah.
And
Wait, I have to do this. I have to text you what I texted my husband tonight. Okay. Do not read this until 7:30 because I'm venting. That's the heading.
That's already not good.
This is already what it said, because I knew he had to like write. He's writing a screenplay. So I was like, do not read this until 7:30 because it's a vent. That's the heading. Being inside all day with kids is a fucking nightmare. Nothing to do with you. Again, I'm not asking for you to fix it, just for me to vent. Okay, here goes. It's like picking a scab. It's irritating and it sucks, and that we're not designed to be cooped up like this. The reason everything is a mess is because they have nothing to do. They want to play. They want to move. They want to get out. Anyway, I'm over it. I need to change. I need to get up early. But the only reason I don't get up early is because the only time I have for me is at nighttime. So I'm too tired to get up in the morning. Anyway, I'll make the kids the proper breakfast this morning. Just venting, again, not for you to fix.
What was the response?
No response, because I told him not to fix it. If I didn't say don't fix it, it would be like,
he didn't take a
my fault.
He didn't take a sneak it already. He's really gonna wait till 7:30.
I think he waited. I think he did, because he knew that he would be anxious if he did. But like that's
he didn't wait till 7:30 to read it. But if he's smart, he'll wait to respond until about 7:43.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like these kids need to move. They need to get out. They need to be active. And it's just like you feel like you're a failure when everyone's just going crazy inside because you feel like you should do something about it. But you just need to accept, I don't know, maybe we just need to accept where we are in
that's what
the world right now.
We have to accept where we are because we're in the middle of this fucking pandemic. I mean, it's getting better, but it's like we've all been trapped for like a year, and it's like, right? And we talk about a lot of times on this podcast too, is just giving ourselves grace to like be wherever we are, whatever that looks like at the moment, and just kind of like breathe through it and deal. I will say therapy helps, therapy is a good thing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tammin, for that. It was like, girl, it's time. It's time. And
you think I'm a mess now, Roxy? Imagine me without therapy.
I don't want to. What do you guys think? Do you guys do therapy?
I have done it before. I'm a very anxious person, so I have. I've worked with a therapist before on many occasions just to learn how to. And this is actually before kids, which is probably more beneficial in hindsight now than I even realized it. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think mental health is people don't talk about it enough, even though it's been a big thing to talk about the last couple of years, especially this past year. I mean, we used to go because we're comedy partners. We've worked together for a long time. And so when we both first had kids, we would do activities together because we're both actors. We're both essentially stay-at-home dads until, let's say, one of us got an audition. We could get each other's back, watch each other's kid, the whole thing. But we used to go to the zoo with our kids. During the day because we had the day free. We could go to the park. We could go to the zoo. We could do whatever. And then that's just been pretty much turned off for a year. And so after a while, we had chosen to pod together so that our families could spend and our children could spend time together. But yeah, I mean, it's been, especially this year has been really, really tasking on everybody. And, parents especially, it's been interesting.
Yeah, I think that therapy needs to be normalized for so many reasons in this country. And a big one is like, I went into therapy when I was much younger and then haven't since. And then this past year has been, just brings up a lot of stuff. That's not great. And so I looked into getting therapy and I had really good health insurance, and everyone that I could reach or contact, none of them took my health insurance and I couldn't afford them. So no.
There's an app, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I'm not
Is it commercial time?
They're not paying. Yeah, actually, everyone who wants to listen, this is the next sponsored post. No, it's not. There's an app. I call it the CVS app. I don't even know why I call it that, but it's because it's like an inexpensive. You don't get the best red wine, but you might get the CVS version of wine. But it's like $200 a month.
That was the trick.
4 sessions.
It does.
Yeah, it's a trade. Like you're not fully fixed, but you're like a little bit better.
It's not therapy, it's therapy product.
Yeah. So I just talk the whole time.
Byproduct, therapy byproduct.
Nothing really gets fixed, but it's 4 sessions for like $200. So,
cool.
Which is great, but therapy it needs to be accessible. And I've been going to therapy for fucking 10 years, man. Like, I don't even know. My fights look like this. So I can tell. Actually, you know what? You tell me how you're feeling, because I am sensing that you're frustrated and it's coming out as anger, because anger is not a primary emotion. So your anger is coming from your fear. So can you tell me what you're afraid of? That is what our fights consist of.
He's like, where did you get a notebook?
He's like, I just need you to change. I just need you to change the diaper. Yeah. That's all I'm asking.
So obviously you're frustrated, which means you feel like you're not being heard. Oh my God, it's so annoying.
It's been 2 hours in that diaper. That's all.
It's literally all it is.
Yeah.
It is fear that it's going to explode.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Amazing,
I have to say too, because I first started watching you guys on TikTok. For people that do not watch, you guys have got to watch them on TikTok because they're so funny. The videos are so funny, and you're welcome. And I love the creepy kids series because we all know what that is, right? So what is like the creepiest thing that your kids have ever done?
I made it. It was in the creepy kid TikTok I did was 100% real. As I came into the bath and my daughter had like an old water bottle that we just let them use to play with, half filled with water, and a doll naked upside down, just head dunked in there,
like head first in the
head first. It's just like, why?
My daughter always comes up to me and she's like, I want to cut the hair off my dolls. And I'm like,
you're like,
okay. And she's like, and then cut their legs off. And I'm like, okay. What about you, Rox?
Oh, okay. So this is funny. We were just at dinner like the other night, and we were talking about, there was like another family there. They have a little one the same age. And we were playing that game. Would you rather, like, this or that? And I guess like potty, because they're 6 years old. So potty like stuff is really funny to them right now. So they were like, would you rather like eat your poop or eat your pee? Or like, it's like that thing. My daughter pipes up and she goes, would you rather die because your head got sliced off or somebody stabbed you? I was like, oh my God.
I'm going to go head. Yeah. Definitely head.
Yeah.
Right? It was like the head slicing much quicker.
My daughter's been doing this thing when she comes in, she goes, oh my God, Mom, I think my brain's playing tricks on me because like, I think I want to shoot you. And I was like, she goes, I'm really sad that I'm thinking about that because I really love you. And I was like, well, you're not going to shoot me then. She's like, but what if I do? And I'm like, well, you have to find a gun. She's like, well, what if I find a gun? I'm like, you're 7. It's gonna, maybe in Texas you can at 7. But I was like, you're not going to find a gun. She's like, well, what if someone drops one on the floor and I pick it up and then shoot you, I'd be so upset. And I was like, oh God. And then she goes, but at least when you go to heaven, everything tastes good. So don't worry. I was like, oh my gosh. It's like they get so much, they get more existential earlier than I ever thought about that sort of stuff.
That's amazing.
Don't worry, Mom. When I bring the heat, food's going to taste great in heaven. So you got nothing to worry about.
She's definitely thought it through, Tim, and she has it all planned out.
Don't bring the kid to a police station. They'll be like, oh God, there's guns everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, and man. I'm worried about everyone shooting each other. So Dads, I want to ask you because I want to do a little bit of like, what can each sex do better? Okay. So like, what do you think women or moms or how do you think women could communicate better to guys?
Ooh,
that's a great question. I would love Evan to answer it.
Oh yes, I was ready for that question.
How can we be better without communication?
Just men to women, or women to men in general?
Women to men in general.
Because there's a lot of confusion, it seems like, too.
Very
like,
confused.
My husband's like, wait, I don't know. Like, are you mad? Like, he doesn't quite understand all the time.
I think a lot of it, I mean, it could just be personality things. I don't know. That's difficult to speak for too many people, but in my situation, my wife and I are different in the way that if something is either frustrating us or whatever it is, I want to let's talk about it right now. Like, I don't want to wait to talk about this, and then have a tough conversation 5 hours from now or whatever. Like, I want to just talk about it right now while I feel like I can talk about it. Because otherwise I kind of not lose interest in it, but in the way that I'll forget what I wanted to say or I'll forget because I have no problem letting things go because my wife is my wife. She's my best friend. We go through life together, everything. So if something's going to really bother me that much, I'll say it. But otherwise I'll know she's probably just frustrated. It's not that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. But where she needs to think about it for a little bit and wants to come back when she's more calm or can explain herself better or something. And so I think it's just understanding who you're talking to and their process they need to go through. Mm-hmm. And that's probably the safest way I could say anything bad about my wife on a podcast.
Well, you haven't listened to Al's because we go there. Poor Roxy's husband's like, I don't want to come back. Yeah. He's heard this podcast.
He's like, please stop talking about me, okay?
It's interesting because I feel like women, my husband said to me, he's like, well, you manipulate. And it's interesting because I don't think I actually manipulate. I think it's something that women do. I see it in my daughters. They're 2 and 7. It's something that's innately in women that they try to get what they want. So they try different tactics and how to get it. And I feel like a lot of women, I wouldn't say I'm not going to generalize all women, but I would say a lot, every one of my friends, every woman I know, that when they want something, they'll try different tactics instead of just saying if they wanted an apology, even let's say, they wouldn't say, you know what, you really hurt me. I feel vulnerable saying this, but I would like an apology. They kind of get aggressive and they try to get an apology by maybe saying something else to them that makes them feel bad. It's like women do these little things and these little tricks. I saw on a TikTok and it was the first time I thought that no one else had done this. I don't know, Roxy, if you do this, but you're upset and then you cry a little harder while you're in bed to make sure he can you guys are crazy. You cry just a little harder. So you're and you're in the room and you're crying and you're like, why the fuck isn't he coming in here? So you cry even harder. And I saw that on TikTok and I was like, oh my goodness, because there was millions of people who were like, yeah, I do that. And I thought I was the crazy one, but I realized that it's maybe just what women have been told to do. I don't know. I see it in my kids and they're girls. So I don't know. Roxy, what do you think?
I mean, I think for me, well, my deal. I don't like to be that vulnerable, emotionally. So mine usually comes out more as anger, it's more like that. So, but I think the times when I have gotten emotional and actually cried and shown my vulnerability, he kind of gets a little confused because I don't normally go that route. So then he feels really, really bad, But I think, I think definitely, I see it in my daughter too. I see her, and it might be a kid's thing too at this age, but I do see the manipulation wheels turning with her.
Oh,
and
yeah.
seeing how, and she's starting to do the thing where she's pitting us against each other a little bit, you know, like she'll be like, well, mommy said this, but no, daddy said that. And it'll be like a back and forth. But I think there is manipulation there. What do you guys think?
More for women than men.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah. Well, for sure. I like to think that just women in general are incredible tacticians. I think that they just
nice
come.
Way to put it.
I know. That's right.
You're not getting in trouble by any woman today.
I just think
incredible tactician.
Well, manipulative is just like, it's very specific to like a certain part of like what you'd have a problem with, where in other scenarios, maybe I'll see my wife fixing a problem that has nothing to really do with her to a degree, and she'll still have all these different angles. Our father-in-law moved in with us, and he's a very stubborn man. And I just love watching someone else try to fight with her, because he just knocks him around with all these different ideas. And I think maybe that goes back to how the world has been for so long, with this expectation of men working and women not. So not to say that men at jobs don't have a lot of responsibility and don't have 20, 30, 50 things on their plate at their job. They do. But for most people, that was just the job, do the job, and then go home. In the meantime, the wife's worrying about everything else. And I think that's just been an expectation of women for so long, that you need to know how to do every little possible thing and think of every doomsday scenario of how this is going to go wrong. You need to be able to, and I think that's just ingrained in women, whether they have kids or not, that they can just, I'm just blown away with how fast my wife could destroy any argument I have, which is why I have won every single fight I've had with her in the car alone. Because I do like a trial run, and she's like really bad at fighting me in my head. And then I go home and I apologize.
Maybe it's also, you say like to it might also be to get what they want to, because again, in society, it's like, it's very hard for women to get what they want. So they do have to figure out different angles, because it's not like, it's not the easiest thing to get, you know, the best job or be the top of your game. Like so many positions, like gatekeepers are not women, you know, even in the film business. I think it's like, I don't know, I don't want to say it's just like something like 10% of women, even less than that, are like directors, or like writers. It's like, there's not a lot of women in gatekeeper positions. So it's like, to get there, you kind of, and to let more women in, you kind of have to figure out what you want, and you have to figure out different tactics and how to get it. And you're right. Like maybe it's just the way we've just learned it throughout the years.
Yeah. It's evolved, you know?
For sure.
Yeah. But even when you do get to those positions, it's hard because you don't get paid the same as a woman, you know? So even when you do reach those, like that, you are at the top of the game, you're still fighting, you know, to make equal pay and things.
And
like
it's always, and it's always such slow progress too, because like somebody will make a big announcement that this woman is directing a movie, and everybody's like, that's awesome, that's great. And then the next 30 movies will be men, because everybody's still riding the high of that at one time.
Right. They're like, back in 2003.
Yeah, it's like as if, well, we let one do it once, and so now we're going to get back to what, I mean, it is like incremental change.
But I do think, I do think that's a big part of why women are tacticians.
You guys are both actors, correct?
Yeah.
How has that felt like I'm an actor as well. How does that feel in the pandemic? Are you going nuts? Do you feel depressed that there's no work, or do you feel like everything will change when the pandemic's over? How's it been being an artist in the pandemic?
For me, it was definitely really depressing for a long time. I wasn't going in for anything. And then twice I went in for something, I was like, this isn't safe.
People are breathing on me.
Yeah. Right. And it wasn't great, but it was depressing. And honestly, that was actually how I got into TikTok, because I've been writing and doing comedy for a long time, and 15 years or something. So when my wife told me about TikTok, I had the same stigma everybody else did, which is like, it's a kid app.
Yeah.
And then I went on it, and I was like, oh, and it was my wife's idea of like, you should bring you should bring the dumb dads onto this. And then we started doing it, and it was just feels so good to do something. But I'm nervous for when things go back. I don't know if because there's a lot of businesses not acting that are just like, oh, this is easier. You're working from home from now on. And just to be doing this stuff, me personally, I thrive better as a comedian and just an actor in general with an audience. So
of course,
if I'm in a room with somebody, I will always do better than here's some sides and a camera, and get this back to me tomorrow. It's like, okay. So I'm enjoying the TikTok, but
the self-tapes for me has been amazing just because I used to get such bad panic attacks before an audition. And yet, you know, give me the job. Like I've had a few offers in my career, and it's great, you know, because like I'm on set and I'm fine. But I think I want it so badly that the anticipation just works me up. And I know that I don't do my best in the room. So when it's my poor husband taping me, sometimes we do like 50 takes. Oh my God, poor guy. But at least, and that's maybe a control thing, but at least you're giving something that you are proud of. So I actually hope that self-tapes never go away, but I hope I hope being back on set, obviously gets back. But
I feel like it's a mixed bag. I do appreciate the self-tape and the way that I don't have to drive into Hollywood or wherever I need to go like 4 or 5 times a week to do an initial audition. I would love for it to maybe at least be the first couple rounds is a self-tape or something. And then when it gets really into the nuts and bolts and who they're really considering, then you can be brought in and, you know, then they can really see it in person. I think that probably helps in a lot of ways for the industry, but yeah, I don't know. The same for me. That was depressing in a way because I'm such a creative person. I'm an artist in many ways. I like to make things, you know, and so for everything to be turned off was like a real moment, you know, and so on top of that, we're stay-at-home dads because sort of our scenario worked out so well. We're actors, and so really I need to go to work for a couple times a week if I have an audition or something, but otherwise I'm free, you know. And so for that to be turned off, certainly felt the pressure, like, well, how can I really be contributing to this family financially if I can't even have an opportunity to do that? And I think, probably just wanting to get our experiences out there. TikTok has been like a cool way for us to share our experiences and make light of it, turn crazy situations we've been in as parents into comedy for other parents to watch, enjoy. You know, we just put our comedy through a parenting filter and then put it out there.
Do you think your audience, is it mostly like moms or is it mostly dads or is it like pretty equally mixed?
It's 80% women and
I followed you
20% men. Yeah, we checked out the analytics. We check out the analytics pretty regularly, and it's 80% women,
which was cool. We did not. I don't know what we expected. I think we just wanted to put something else out there for people to try to find, you know. And so once it started doing well, we looked and thought, well, I guess I didn't expect it to be so many moms following us, and how many times in the comment sections they're like, I feel so seen. Thank you for posting this, or thank you for what you guys are doing. And that we did not expect that. We're just trying to make people laugh, you know, and needed another creative outlet to stay busy and keep our minds working. And so the pouring in of appreciation from parents, but especially from moms. And I think a lot of stay-at-home moms as well that feel seen or just feel maybe not spoken for, but, you know, just recognized for the things that we go through as parents that it's difficult to explain to people, you know.
And raising kids is like a universal experience too, you know? So it's like I think that the TikToks and the Instagram accounts that do really well, when you take away all the bullshit ones, which is the fake stuff about everything looking so perfect, is being relatable. Because again, when you feel like you're being seen and heard, then you don't feel alone. And that's the big thing in life, not even just in COVID. So COVID, yes, especially, but in life, we all feel lonely. Like even I think that, you know, with technology, we feel like it's brought us together, and it has in so many ways. But I also believe that it's, you know, taken us away from our families. You know, sometimes I'm on my phone just flicking and I'm like, why aren't I here with my child? So it's like bringing people together when they're feeling their loneliest. And I think that when you do that through comedy, especially when you make someone laugh, that's such an incredible way to make them feel like they're not alone too. Yeah, comedy is, for me, is when I relate to people the most.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have this with your podcast, but we get messages, like private messages on like Instagram and stuff from people that open up to us about like people we've never met, people we've never talked to, about like things they're going through, and like how they're grateful for me making fun of how creepy my daughter is.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, a lot of surprises happen during these videos, and we're grateful that we're like we want to make people laugh. We didn't want to making them feel seen, and happy for that reason is not feel alone, like you said. So the words I was looking for is really gratifying. And I'm sure you get the same thing doing this podcast as well.
Yeah, it's about creating community, like you're saying. And I think women especially resonate with that, and moms, because it's really kind of, it can be very lonely, when you're a parent and when you're a mom and when you're a dad too, and you're in this sort of pandemic. And I think like what you guys are doing, it just like, it brings so many people together, and it's so nice. Yeah. Like you're saying, it's so nice to laugh, but it's also really funny that you guys do it through like a dad's eyes. Because we do see a lot of the mom stuff, on TikTok. And I just think it's really creative, like to have it through like a stay-at-home dad's perspective.
Do you ever worry about the views? See, that's my biggest problem. My whole life has been like, started acting at 15. It's always about doing well, success, right? And you're trained at 15 to be like, it's all about the views. Not that there was social media back then, but it's like your show has to do well, and whatever movie you have to do has to do well, because then you get another job. And when you've been doing it for so long, you think like, I don't want to lie and say that the views don't matter to me. They do. And then it almost takes away, when the views matter, it almost takes away the beauty of any of it, because it's like you're almost creating videos for the audience instead of creating videos that you are connected to and why you want to do it. So do you care about the views?
I do. I'm probably too obsessed with the views.
See? And it ruins it. For me, it ruins it.
It does ruin it a little bit. I cannot figure out TikTok for the life of me. I know it seems like we kind of have, but there's this AI algorithm that's a mess, and it's all over the place. But one thing that I've figured out and kind of inspires me to be obsessed with the views is the fact that, for people who don't know, TikTok, I'll be real quick. There's two things. There's a page where you can watch everybody who you follow, and there's a page of like, based on what you follow, I think you'd like this. And that's the algorithm. When you put a new video out, it doesn't always go to the people that follow you. It goes out to new people. So I try to treat every video like, this is an opportunity to find someone else, to share my jokes and whatever with another person. And I think that's why it's probably unhealthy. It is unhealthy.
The algorithm is so screwed up. Don't you think it's so screwed up? Like and people who don't know algorithms, right? But like I had a video on TikTok that did like 20,000 and then on Reels did 16 million. Explain that to me. Because then I think to myself,
we cannot.
then I think to myself, then how is these people liking it? Like that makes the platforms also are very different. So what works for one doesn't work for another. And you would think, why?
We're certainly finding that as well, where we feel like we're growing really quickly on TikTok and putting these videos out there. I will also interject really just and say that we also speak about it a lot, like not trying to focus on the views so much, because there's also videos where you have an idea and you think like, oh man, this is going to be difficult for me to pull off. It's probably going to take me a day or maybe more than a day to film, because I have to make it really tight transitions and make it really, really dialed in as to what the video I'm trying to make. That video won't do quote unquote well. And then a video, it could, and you think it will, but then you do a video
never.
I have a quick idea, and I go shoot it, and it
goes viral.
5 minutes, and it goes kind of nuts. It's just 1 million views or 600,000 views or whatever, and you think like, well, why? What's the difference? I have no idea. And so we speak about just make sure you think it's funny. Like I honestly just think I hope Kevin thinks this. I hope Kevin laughs. If I can make Kevin laugh, then we're good because I know that, you know,
Yeah.
we're buddies. We talk a lot about comedy. You know, we've been doing comedy for so long. If he thinks this is funny and I think it's funny, then it's fine because, you know, but it's hard not to when we're, you know, we're trying to also build something that we want it to grow. And if a video or 2 or 3 in a row or whatever doesn't do well, you think like, man, what are we missing here? You know, when it could just be, I don't know what, you know, it could be something unexplainable that we can't control.
Yeah.
It's also financial that people don't understand too. It's like at some point you build yourself to a brand where you're actually being able to create an income so that, if you're not going on set every day, you can create an income from home and still have your kids and your wife can still work. So it's like there's a lot of pressure that's tied into it. So, you know, people sometimes say, well, if it stresses you out so much, then just leave it. And it's like, but you can't just leave it because ultimately you want an income at some point as well, you know? So it's like how you survive.
Yeah. I mean, and the stress is annoying, but also sometimes like inspiring. Like I want to get this done. My wife, like I said, like coming on TikTok was her idea. And
so it's her fault is what you're saying.
Every time I have bad news, I mean at her. I said, you did this to me. You've ruined me. But no, it is that. And it is really important. And my wife does like, make sure that she's like, okay, go ahead, do your thing. And like, it seems silly to be like, okay, I gotta make a TikTok.
I know. Every Tuesday we make ours, by the way. It's so weird.
So funny.
Oh yeah.
So do you think because you guys have done so well on TikTok, has that helped like the whole brand? Like, have you been able to monetize so much more? And like, have you gotten more like business opportunity, particularly out of that, like sort of TikTok, like the good things that have happened to you on TikTok?
Well, we've actually done all this in 4 months.
Oh, wow.
So, right. It is happening now is, I guess, our point. But it was like, we were doing the podcast for about 2 years right before my son was born. And that was fun. And then we were doing the Instagram and stuff like that. And we went on TikTok and right away it was like, it hit because like Instagram, I struggle with memes and all that stuff. And I didn't really, and Twitter is a dumpster fire. And so to be able to like, I like writing and performing. I did sketch, like I said, I've done sketch comedy forever. And so I was like, oh, okay. So doing that, it has been and is inspiring to be like, oh, okay. So I was auditioning pretty regularly before all this happened and now it's stopped. And to be able to find a creative outlet that I'm doing, writing, performing, it just feels good. And it does. I mean, I hope more comes from it.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's our podcast is almost at 2 years, and we always say like when we talk to people on TikTok or that it's sort of like long form of our videos. We go over what we do daily. Do we have any struggles? We always have like we talk about dumb parenting moments. But if I was to pick something that would do well, TikTok has been a pretty healthy thing to do and go well for us, considering we both like doing it. We both like creating things, creating videos, sketches, jokes, you know, and that's what it is. And to have like a medium like that has gone well for us has been pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I actually love it. You know, even during the election, it was just so nice to, I don't know, get on and there was things to laugh. Like things weren't not everything was being taken too seriously. I feel like I can connect with, or like see through a different lens, other people's lives. Video just connects with me in that way. And I feel like it's not about the filters and the beautiful bodies or whatever. It's just the reality of humans, you know? And I think that's what really connects us. And,
it gets like creativity out there for sure, you know.
Hey, should we do a never have I ever before we go Roxy Soxy?
Yes, we should.
We haven't done that in a while, so let's do it. Never have I ever. Well, thanks guys so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on our
Thank you so much for having us
show.
on.
Yeah,
We had so much fun, and I think we might be coming on your show. Maybe after the show, you're like,
we would love for you to come on the show.
You'll be like, oh, we'll see you tomorrow, and then you like never respond.
They like ghost us, and we're like, wait, where are you guys?
Ghost her so fast.
Wait, that's what happens sometimes. You're like,
we're gonna come up with very specific never have I ever's. That's what it's gonna be.
Oh,
never have I ever been on a podcast.
And we're obviously very shy, so be careful.
Yeah. All right.
So be gentle. Be gentle.
Yeah,
be
really careful.
Thank you so much though for having me. This is awesome.
This was fun.
Thank
now
you.
I have to get back to my real life. cry
There you
about it.
go.
Just kidding.
A little bit.
Well, Roxy Soxy, where can everyone find us?
Everybody.
Wait, where can they find you, guys? Where can they find you?
Where can they find you guys? Best
You can find us on
places.
Twitter if you want. We don't do anything, but Instagram and TikTok at DumbDadPod.
Watch them, guys. They're funny. Like, you've got to watch them. So good.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you very
much.
much.
Mm.
And Roxy Soxy, where can everyone find us?
Well, you can find us on Women on Top Official on Instagram. And
Women on Top podcast on
Yep. You
Facebook.
go, girl. Yeah.
I always get that one wrong.
On Facebook.
And Clubhouse, Women on Top.
We are women on top. We're the women on top, or the side, or the bottom. And on that note, I'm not drunk or high. I just am like this.
Want a BlackBerry?
Yeah. I just want a BlackBerry. So if someone wants to give me a foot massage I actually need a new iPhone. BlackBerry. I've upped my foot prices, my foot massage prices. I am definitely for the new iPhone. So
Okay.
excited. My husband doesn't know what he got. I mean, come on. Not everyone can say that. I'm gonna go tell him. I'm gonna be like, you know what? Bitch.
If you guys do our podcast, we'll send you a couple of old Blackberries.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Wait, thank you.
Maybe throw in some hair extensions.
Yeah, please do. I'm Tam and Sursock.
And I am Roxy Manning.
And we are women
on
top.